Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar for the MITx MicroMasters and Master's program in Data Economics and Design of Policy. We are just going to give it a few more seconds to let everyone join, and then we will start the presentation. All right, looks like more people have been able to join, so just want to again say thank you so much for joining our webinar today. This presentation will be on the MicroMasters and Master's program in Data Economics and Design of Policy. We will introduce ourselves shortly, but first we'd like to start with a quick video that introduces the program.
Poverty, access to education, malnutrition. These are just some of the most pressing problems facing countries across the globe where poverty is massive and persistent. High-income countries grapple with their own set of challenges: slowing economic growth, income inequality, climate change, to name a few. There are thousands of policies and programs all over the world dedicated to solving these challenges. But how do you evaluate their effectiveness? How do you ensure that policies designed to tackle these problems are backed by scientific evidence? And how do you determine which methods are most useful in effectively addressing problems facing disadvantaged populations? MITx MicroMasters program in Data, Economics and Design of Policy aims to equip learners with the knowledge and the skills to approach these pressing challenges.
Using cutting-edge research from Nobel Prize-winning faculty that places an evidence-based approach at the forefront of policy design and evaluation. All the content in these courses is developed and delivered by MIT Department of Economics, rated #1 in the world. The content in each DEDP course balances theoretical knowledge with practical skills, combining tools in program evaluation and policy design with a deep understanding of the economic and mathematical principles behind them. Taken together, these courses provide a rigorous foundation in microeconomics, data analysis, probability and statistics, development economics, and program evaluation.
This is a series of MIT caliber courses, so you can expect that the course load will be demanding but rewarding. DEDP learners who successfully pass 5 courses, including corresponding online proctored exams, earn a MicroMaster program's credential from MITx. Depending on the courses you complete, you can earn a credential in International Development track, the Public Policy track, or both. Whether you're already a researcher or a policymaker, or you're interested in starting a career in policymaking or pursuing graduate school, this certificate will provide you with a strong foundation on which to take your next step.
MicroMasters credential holders who apply and are accepted will be recognized as already having 1 semester's worth of credit.
So accepted students will earn MIT credit for the classes that they completed online and will be able to pursue an accelerated master's degree here at MIT.
While the MicroMasters is comparable to an entire semester's worth of advanced MIT coursework, because the classes are online, you can work at your own pace and take them over several semesters in a way that works for you.
It also enables you to take the courses from anywhere in the world, which in turn means you will be interacting with other online learners from all over the globe.
Ultimately, we designed this program to help students have a positive impact on the world. All of us have spent large parts of our lives thinking hard about these problems, and we are really excited about the opportunity to share what we've learned. Our goal is to create a cadre of rigorously trained development economists to engage with the problems of developing the world.
If you're prepared to take on the challenge of making the world a better place, this program is for you.
All right. welcome again. If you joined in the last 3 minutes, we are really pleased to see so many people tuning in from around the world today. This is the webinar for the MITx and MIT Master's Program in Data Economics and Design of Policy, a program that we will be referring to as DEDP. We'll start with some introductions. My name is Bryn Fieldhouse, and I am a Senior Operations Associate at J. Powell Global, and I'm joined today by my colleague Davis Hunneford, an Education Manager at J. Powell Global. He's waving to you now, and he will say hello in a little bit. We both support the DEDP programs here at MIT. So today's presentation will be on both the MicroMasters and Masters program. This is a quick overview of what we will be discussing, but first we'd love to hear from you to learn more about who we have joining us today. So we will launch a quick poll. You'll see some questions pop up on your screen, and we'd really appreciate if you could let us know where you're joining from. This is great. Thank you for answering these questions. It's very exciting to see people joining from pretty much every continent. So I know we represent a lot of different time zones. So thank you for logging on today. And it looks like a lot of people are interested in expanding their knowledge in data economics and public policy. We'll definitely be talking about an opportunity to do that. There's also a lot of interest in the master's program at MIT, and we will focus on that towards the end of our presentation. So it looks like, the slides we've prepared will be very relevant. So if you're still responding to the questions, we'll give you a few more seconds. Quickly submit your answers now, and then we'll get moving on the rest of our slides. All right, I'm ending the poll. Great. Perfect. Okay, so today our formal presentation will be organized into 4 main sections. First, we will introduce JPAL, and then we will talk about the DEDP MicroMasters program, then the Master's program at MIT, and we'll finish with a quick live Q&A with our staff and an alumni from the program. So a quick logistical note, how to submit questions. We would be more than happy to answer your questions live on the call today, and we have a panel of colleagues from MIT Open Learning who will also be helping us answer your questions throughout the presentation. You may have noticed that we have a chat box and a Q&A box. So please feel free to submit your questions at any time in the Q&A box. We encourage you to read through the questions that other people are asking, and if you notice that someone has a question that you would also like to know the answer to, instead of typing it, you can upvote their question to make sure that we see it. This is a great way to let us know which questions to prioritize, and the webinar will be focused on the MicroMasters program, so we'll briefly mention the Master's program at the end, but we will prioritize questions about the MicroMasters program. If you're interested in just learning only about the Master's program, maybe you've taken all the MicroMasters courses already, we also have a Master's admissions webinar in the fall, so stay tuned for that. And we will try our best to type answers to your questions in a timely manner, but if your question hasn't been answered, please be patient because we may be waiting to answer it live at the end. All right, so now we will move into the first section, which is what is JPAL? So JPAL is a research network with a mission to reduce poverty by ensuring that policy is informed by scientific evidence. We know that poverty is complex, and so JPAL takes the approach of breaking it down and looking at whether specific interventions or policies work with rigorous evidence. JPAL has a network of more than 1,000 researchers who are based at leading universities around the world, all working to learn more about these topics, to study and to understand the challenges while also thinking about how to scale up solutions. JPAL's research is concentrated in 11 sectors. Each sector is supported by a team of experts on staff who work with our affiliated researchers to share their research with wider audiences and draw out key policy insights. To date, our network of researchers have completed over 2,400 randomized evaluations in 96 countries. So you can see a map of where all the research has been done on the screen. And our efforts are strengthened by global knowledge and local grounding through our 7 JPAL regional offices. These offices play a key role in building partnerships with governments and with local partners to carry out our work. So you might be wondering, how does this relate to the DEDP program? The MicroMasters program in Data Economics and Design of Policy is jointly run by JPAL Global and MIT's Office of Open Learning. The program was established to expand the network of professionals who can expand on the important work of research and ensuring that policy is informed by scientific evidence. The program has 4 faculty directors, Abhijit Banerjee, Esther Duflo, Sarah Ellison, and Benjamin Olkin, and they are also the instructors for most of the MicroMasters courses. Abhijit and Esther were awarded the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences in 2019 for their experimental approach to alleviating global poverty, and this approach is what is taught in many of the DEDP courses. The mission of the DEDP program is to empower a cadre of diverse, exceptional individuals with the technical skills to tackle poverty alleviation using evidence-based approaches. And we do this through 2 DEDP programs, an online MicroMasters program and an in-person master's program. The 2 programs are complementary. You must complete the MicroMasters program to be eligible to apply for the master's program. Both programs are designed for learners from diverse backgrounds. People from all ages, including undergraduate students and mid-career professionals, enroll in the courses to learn new skills from MIT and then pursue professional certificates or an accelerated graduate program all around the world. And with that, I will pass it over to Davis to talk more about the MicroMasters program.
Thank you so much, Bryn. Just a quick reminder, please send your questions via the Q&A box and not the chat. It's just a lot easier for us to follow the questions in the Q&A box rather than the chat. The chat moves pretty fast, and there's a nice upvote feature in the Q&A box, as Bryn mentioned. Anyway, on to what you're here for, which is information about the DEDP MicroMasters program. I just want to say also briefly, it's great to be here. It's one of the best things about working with the DEDP MicroMasters program is interacting with all the learners. It's really fantastic to see you all show up from really all over the world. So without further ado, we'll discuss the MicroMasters program in a little more detail. So, this online program is designed to equip learners with practical skills and theoretical knowledge in microeconomics, data analysis, and randomized evaluations, primarily. The MicroMasters program consists of 8 online courses and associated proctored exams that are all offered on MITx Online. The DEDP program is a unique learning opportunity within the field of development economics. These courses are rigorous. They are filmed on MIT's campus and emulate actual residential MIT courses. The program, we like to think, is pretty flexible. You can choose which electives you take, and we run our courses during 3 separate terms every year. You're free to enroll anytime that a course is offered, and there are no formal educational or degree requirements. We hope that this gives the program as wide of a reach as possible. All you need is a computer and internet access to take our courses. Also, the course content is free for all auditors. Hopefully this makes our content much more accessible as well. And finally, the MicroMasters credential is eligible for credit at 19 pathway universities around the world. So hopefully this broadens the credit opportunities. All right. Now here you can see all 8 of our current courses. Most of them are based on residential MIT classes. They're filmed in MIT classrooms and use lecture exercises, problem sets, etc. that are all based on residential coursework. All of these courses are taught in English, but we have begun to translate the transcripts of these courses into other languages as well. So, for example, you can find Spanish and Portuguese transcripts in microeconomics, as well as data analysis for social scientists. And you can find French language transcripts in the course The Challenges of Global Poverty. We are currently working on even more other language transcripts as well, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's chat about the DEDP MicroMasters credential. As you saw from the last slide, our courses are divided into 3 categories. We've got core courses on the left here, international development track electives in the middle, and then public policy track electives on the right. The 3 required core courses are listed on the left. To complete the MicroMasters credential, you must complete these 3 courses as well as 2 electives in one of the 2 tracks. To learn more about the courses, there is course information and previews that are available on the DEDP website and on MITx Online. Course previews also provide links and recommendations for various resources and supplementary materials. Okay, so here's some more quick facts, high-level details about the program. First up, I'd like to talk about the course structure. As I said previously, these are demanding, challenging courses. Each is going to be 11 weeks long and equivalent to a full semester course at MIT. We estimate the coursework will usually take between 8 to 14 hours a week, depending on the learner, the course, and your familiarity with the material. While there are weekly assignment deadlines in our courses, we release content in advance of those weekly deadlines, so you're free to work ahead if you're, going to be busy at a particular time and you're aware of that ahead of time. So at the end of each term, there's also a reading period or an exam onboarding period, which gives some time for learners to review all of the course material and get ready for the proctored exams. This is followed by the proctored exam period, as you might expect, which itself lasts a week. Learners can take the proctored exam, which lasts 75 minutes at any time during the exam week, as the proctoring is actually all done online. All right, I'll also talk now about the 2 tracks we offer and a little bit about how they differ. So first, we've got the International Development track. It's designed for learners who want to explore issues and key questions that are most prevalent in low and middle income countries, experiencing massive and persistent poverty. The public policy track is designed for learners who want to learn about a range of key issues in public policy, with many examples drawn from the US and other high-income countries. If you're trying to choose between the 2 tracks, which something I get a lot of questions about, I would say, I usually tell learners anyway, look at the electives actually offered by each track and see which ones appeal to you more. At the end of the day, you're still going to need to take the core courses, so I would try to pick your electives and then decide your track based on those electives, rather than pick your track first and then say, okay, now I have these electives I need to take and I'm stuck with them. I think that might be helpful. Okay. And here is our annual course schedule, speaking of electives. So yeah, you don't have to copy this down. It's all available online. In fact, I would really encourage you to always check the online schedule. We're currently in the process of developing new courses, so it's helpful to stay up to date with the most relevant information online. Just keep in mind that as you're looking at this, courses aren't offered every single term, so there will be some variability. All right, so how do you start? Well, our courses are open through enrollment through MITx Online, but before you can enroll in a course, you'll need to first create an account on MITx Online. Then you can enroll in any courses by just selecting the Enroll Now button on the course page. One important thing I'll also note here is that when you enroll, you will have the option to pay for the course at full price, request financial assistance, or access the course for free as an auditor. No matter which option you choose, the course will automatically be added to your dashboard, and you don't need to pay for the course to access the materials. You only need to pay if you'd like to take the proctored exam and receive credit. And you can wait to make this decision until the payment deadline, which is always a few weeks into the course. So if you're on the fence, if you're not sure if you want to pursue a certificate, go ahead and enroll as an auditor and you know, try out the first few weeks for free. It's always a good option, I think. And speaking of auditing and certificate tracks and all of that stuff, here is a slide on just that. I think the most important thing to note here is that the course content is, as I said, completely available for free to those who audit. In fact, most things are available for free to those who audit. You can see from the chart here, course materials, assignments, support from MIT staff, all available on the audit track. However, the certificate track also gets you access to the proctored exam, as well as a certificate if you pass the course. You're always allowed to start the course on the audit track and then pay later, as I mentioned, as long as you do so before the payment deadline, which can be found on our website. This will allow you to try a course out for a few weeks, as I mentioned. I guess as a summary, just go ahead and enroll in any course for free. And if you decide to pay, just do so before the payment deadline. More information about the price of courses will be covered by Bryn in future slides. All right. Finally, I'm just going to go ahead and spend a little time talking about the grading policy for the courses. As I mentioned, each course has a proctored exam that must be taken in order to receive a certificate for a course. A passing grade in every course is 50%. These proctored exams are offered in the same semester as the courses are taken. Another thing to note is that learners, you have to take the proctored exam. You try to take the proctored exam in the course that you pay, in the term that you pay for the course. We have ways, if you can't take the proctored exam in the same term that you pay for the course, we have ways to defer your payment to a later term, but it's best to try to take the proctored exam in the same term that you pay. And I think that's just about it. Final grades are weighted 30% course grade, 70% proctored exam grade. But I think I've pretty much covered everything else. So, Bryn, I think I'll go ahead and hand it back to you now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Davis. That was a great overview of the MicroMasters program. And so before we proceed, we just want to do a quick check-in, and we're going to launch a second poll to try to get a sense of everyone's experience with the program thus far to help us inform how we present the next piece of information. So you'll see some questions pop up on your screen, and we'd really appreciate if you could just take a moment to answer them for us. All right. So yeah, the first one is really helpful for us to see where you all first heard about the program. So thank you for answering that. And then the second one is what we're really interested in right now, which is what's your previous level of engagement with the courses. It looks like about half of our participants have never enrolled in a course. And so you are completely new to the MicroMasters program, which is awesome. I hope that the overview that Davis just presented was helpful and interesting to you. Maybe even inspiring you to enroll in a course and audit it for free. And then those who have audited 1+ course but have not earned any certificates, I'm going to now talk about the different forms of financial assistance. So this information would be relevant to you if you're interested in upgrading to take a proctored exam. So we are going to close the poll in just a few seconds. I see a few more answers coming in. All right, I think this is a good cutoff. So we now want to clarify the three different types of financial assistance. So we aim, for those who choose to upgrade, we aim to make the courses as accessible as possible through 3 forms of financial assistance. The first is personalized course pricing. So if you choose to pay for a course, the price will be determined by a tiered pricing structure that is based on your annual income. All enrollees can request this discount, and all you need to do is request financial assistance on MITx Online. There's a little button on the dashboard that says request financial assistance, and then there's a short form that you complete, and the system is pretty automatic. So it's quite straightforward and simple. When you request financial assistance, you'll be asked to report your annual income, and then in some cases, you'll be asked to submit financial documents to verify your income. Then our team will review your documents and you'll receive an email either requesting more information or informing you of your course discount. And this price is assigned to your account and can be used to upgrade in all of the courses. So these are the tiered pricing structures, as I mentioned, and the relevant income ranges. So for example, if your annual income ranges from $0 to $25,000 per year, then your course price would be $250. Just want to note that it does take us a few days to review financial documents, so please request financial assistance and submit your documents in advance, and then more instructions will be provided to you over email. The one date that I do want to mention here is the deadline to submit financial documents, which is June 10. This is just before the term's payment deadline, and this will help us to make sure that you get a personalized course price in time to upgrade. All right. Now, the next form of financial assistance is the $100 course price lottery. So this is a lottery that randomly selects eligible learners to receive a coupon that will discount the price of one course to $100. The discount can be applied to any course, but you must use it within 1 year of receiving it. All this information will be included in an email to you if you are selected as a lottery winner. To be eligible, you must have an annual income of less than $10,000 and be enrolled in a DEDP MicroMasters course in the current term. Eligible enrolled learners will be notified via email shortly after the $100 lottery deadline, which is in the 2nd week of the course. And then lastly, thanks to the generosity of our donors, we have a limited number of scholarships to learners who meet a specific set of eligibility criteria. The scholarships are offered for specific courses and cover the full cost of the course. So these are different from the other 2 types of financial assistance, which only discount the course price. This will set your course price to 0, but you only receive it for 1 course at a time in most cases. Scholarships do require a separate application, and participation in the course is a consideration in the application review. So applicants will be notified 1 to 2 weeks before the term's payment deadline, which is a few weeks after the courses start. And that gives recipients enough time to participate in the course as an auditor and then upgrade to the verified track if they're selected to receive a scholarship. So the most important thing to note with this type of financial assistance is that you have to submit an application and then enroll in the course and complete assignments, and you won't hear back from us for a few weeks as we review all of the applications. So this term, we are really excited to announce that we have scholarships for learners in Brazil, thanks to the generosity of the Lehman Foundation. To apply, as I mentioned, you'll need to submit the scholarship application form, which can be found on our MicroMasters website on the homepage or on the announcements page. And then you'll need to enroll in a course on MITx Online. And as I said, you'll need to participate in the course so that we can review your participation as a part of the application review process. And then we will send notices closer to the payment deadline via email. So please keep an eye out for that if you choose to apply. All of this information and more is included with more detail on the application form. So please make sure to read through that carefully. The important date to note here is the application deadline, which is May 20. It is 1 week after our courses start. Okay, So now you might be wondering, why would I want to work towards a MicroMasters credential? And we think there are many different benefits depending on your current position and your future career goals. So first, you'll be learning new skills and the certificate is a great way to demonstrate your knowledge to your professional networks. So the courses teach you how to apply economic theory, tools, and methodologies to public policy, and they train you to critically assess research. And so whether you're a working professional who works in this field already or who wants to pivot to this field, or if you're a student who is interested in pursuing graduate studies on these topics, the credential will be a great addition to your resume. It's also great for networking. You will be able to interact with other students and our teaching assistants in the course discussion forums. And those who complete their credential are invited to join an online platform for the MIT Alumni Association. And then third, it's also an accelerated and flexible way to pursue graduate studies if that's something that you're interested in. So credential holders can apply to the master's program at MIT, which we will talk about in just a minute, or at one of our 19 pathway universities around the world. We aren't going to go into the details of all of that right now, but I just want to mention that we do have an entire page dedicated to pathway universities on our website, and you can read through that information if you're interested in learning more. So quickly, before we talk about the master's program, I'm going to play a quick video that from MIT that shows the benefits of a credential.
The MicroMasters is a creative way to take a full professional master's degree and, on the one hand, to open out the first semester to the world so the whole world can take it.
If a learner takes one semester worth of courses, does well on them, and passes a comprehensive exam, the learner earns that MicroMasters credential.
And the credential that you receive at the end is of value as a professional credential and an academic credential. Professional credential because those who have completed this work advance their careers. Companies have realized that their people can benefit from this MIT master's level learning without ever leaving work, without ever interrupting their career. And it's an academic credential because some of the people go to a university around the world, might be MIT, could be others, and enter a master's degree and complete their master's degree in an accelerated fashion because the university that they enter gives them credit for the work that they did in their MITx MicroMasters.
You're getting credit for a semester worth of classes that you've done online, but otherwise it's like any other MIT Masters.
What the MicroMasters does is, instead of admitting students at the beginning of the first term, we sort of invert it, and we make the first term open to everyone in the world.
This inverted admission process is a way of getting students whose preparation is very, very strong. Expands the value of the credential from the academic side because it's a pathway now into multiple master's degrees all around the world.
You can reach so many people at one time. There's usually 10 to 30,000 students in each of our courses across 180 plus countries, so having someone from Colombia interact with someone from Germany is very beneficial. It's very interesting to see.
It's extremely important, in my view, for institutions like MIT and others to make it possible for these individuals to aspire to be admitted to a prestigious program. So all that together, offering more professionals to society, to companies, empowering individuals no matter where they come from or where they live, and aspiring to be at a place like MIT or other peer institutions. That is part of the goal of creating a program like this.
Let's see.
The MicroMasters is...
Sorry about that. All right. I always think that's a great overview of why you might want to pursue a MicroMasters credential. And so now we want to just spend some time quickly going over the master's program at MIT, and then we will answer questions. As we said before, please make sure that you're putting your questions into the Q&A box and not in the chat box so that we can see them. Okay. Now to quickly talk about the master's program at MIT. This is the first master's program that is offered by the MIT Economics Department. It's a relatively new program. It launched in 2020, and we welcome one cohort of about 20 students per year onto campus from January to August. So there's no fall term. We employ a unique approach to admissions to identify diverse cohorts from non-traditional backgrounds, where only those who complete the MicroMasters credential are eligible to apply. So how does it work? As I said, we have an inverted admissions program, so only those who complete the MicroMasters credential are eligible to apply. There's no prior degree required to apply, and admissions is primarily based on your performance in the MicroMasters courses. Students will earn credit, MIT graduate credit, for their online courses, which allows them to complete their full master's degree in just 8 months, which is pretty fast compared to other similar programs. The curriculum, so students will spend 1 semester on campus and then complete 4 graduate level courses while they're here, including a weekly seminar, and then they do a capstone project in the summer, and then they finish at the end of August. And then similar to the MicroMasters program, there are 2 tracks allowing students to specialize in their interests. And the tracks are the same as the MicroMasters program. They are international development and public policy. So here is a preview of what you will need to apply for the program. So similar to other U.S. graduate programs, you'll need to submit a resume, a personal statement, a research statement, and 2 letters of recommendation. However, our program has 2 significant differences from most other graduate programs. First, the MicroMasters credentials are required to apply, and your scores are one of the main considerations in the application process. We look holistically at the applications, and there are no hard grading cutoffs, but we recommend scoring around an 85% in each course. And then second, you'll notice that there are no standardized tests like the GMAT or the GRE required to apply. If you've attended a university, we'll ask you to submit your transcripts, but you can also apply if you have never attended a previous university. We actually had 1 student join us directly from high school or secondary school in the first cohort, and he is now a PhD student at MIT. And I say that just to prove that it really is possible. People join us from all different types of backgrounds. The program is also entirely taught in English, and so international applicants are required to submit the TOEFL or IELTS scores. We offer waivers to those who have spent 4 or more years studying at an accredited school where English is the primary language of instruction. So if you believe that you're eligible for a waiver, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. Okay, now to briefly comment on the finances and fellowships. We try to ensure that as many students as possible have financial assistance, but we cannot guarantee that funding will be available for everyone. About half of our current students have a partial or a full fellowship, and this includes both internal fellowships at MIT and external fellowships that the students find in their own networks. Currently, we have funding. All applicants from Brazil are automatically considered for funding for fellowships from the Lehman Foundation, which will cover tuition, insurance, and living cost, or if it's a full fellowship, and then if it's a partial fellowship, it will offset some of the tuition costs. We might also be able to help match other students with fellowships depending on their eligibility, but we highly encourage admitted students to search for and apply for fellowships independently. You can check if your home country or home country government or your employer offer funding. There's also research scholarships for graduate study abroad, and a lot of our students take advantage of things like that. Our students in the past have received fellowships from the Mexican Fund for Development of Human Resources, the Becas Chile program, the LPDP Fellowship in Indonesia, the Endowed Fellowships of the Arab Republic of Egypt. And so these are just some of the options that you might consider if you are from these regions. All right, now to talk about the application timeline. So the timeline follows the same cycle each year. The next application will open in fall 2025, or November 2025. Anyone who completes their credential in the fall MicroMasters term can apply because the fall grades will be released before the application deadline in January. Decisions are then sent in March of 2026, and admitted students come to campus in January of the following year. The long gap between admissions and the start of the program allows students to secure funding and acquire visas and make all of the necessary preparations to move to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And here you can see a photo of this year's master's cohort. We also have a map that shows you where they're from. They represent very different experiences from all around the world. Some of them have worked in government for many years. Some of them come from NGOs, the private sector. We also have some students who came straight from their undergraduate programs, and it's always very exciting when we welcome a new group of students to campus. Quickly, these might be in the chat already, but I wanted to just talk about two common questions that we get. One is, can I apply to either or both tracks of the master's program? And the answer is we have both tracks on campus, but you apply to the program and not a track. And the track that you're eligible to complete is the one that you've completed your MicroMasters credential in. So the application will ask you which credential you've completed, and then you're welcome to apply with either or both credentials. Your application will be reviewed the same in either case. And then the second common question we get is, does retaking MicroMasters courses impact my application? We primarily base our assessment of applications on the performance in a person's highest proctored exam score for each course, but we also take into consideration the score history, including retakes and score progression as part of the comprehensive review process. So you'll be asked to report all of your course and exam attempts in your application, and we will look at all of those things together. Okay. Now, another frequently asked question we get is, what do our alumni go on to do? So they embark on many different ambitious careers in a wide range of roles within research and public policy and implementing partner organizations. A growing number have also continued their journey as researchers by pursuing PhD in economics at top universities around the world, with several more beginning their programs in economics and related fields each year. Regardless of the path they pursue, our alumni share a common thread of tackling poverty using evidence-based approaches, and you can learn more about our students and alumni on the page of the MIT Economics website. Okay. So today we are delighted to have an alum from the master's program join us to answer some of your questions. Sitara Kumbale from the 2023 master's cohort on campus. Sitara, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see you. It feels like it's been so long, but wonderful to have you with us on Zoom. To start, we'd love to just have you introduce yourself. So your name, where are you from, and what did you, once you graduated, what did you go off to do?
Yeah. Hi, Bryn. It's really nice to see you. Thanks for having me. And really nice to meet everyone online. My name's Sitara. I grew up across the US and India, so I would say a little bit from both these places. Like it's up there. I finished the DEDP Masters program in 2023. I did the MicroMasters between 2020 and 2021. And after the Masters, I went on to work for a nonprofit in Kenya and stayed on there for around 1 year, after which I moved to a different place. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, let's put ourselves in the shoes of most people on this webinar. They've never taken a course before. Can you share what you were doing when you started the program and which course you started with and what the process was like for you?
Yeah. So I started off with completely a non-economics or a non-development background. My bachelor's degree was in engineering. So this kind of like space was very new to me. I was kind of straight out of undergrad when I started the DEDP program. And I started off with, and this was during the pandemic, I was kind of looking for, yeah, just like what I wanted to do next and like what kind of like opportunities would let me like make an impact in the world. I was really curious about economics, and I kind of like chanced upon the Challenges of Global Poverty course. It's that was the first course I did. I also in the same semester did the course on microeconomics. So I started off with both of them. I think they're both kind of like very different courses and they complemented each other really well. So microeconomics was more kind of math heavy, giving me the economics background that I didn't have before. And the Challenges of Global Poverty was a very strong introduction into what the MicroMasters and the master's program, the core of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's great that you started with one of the more difficult math classes and that allowed you to learn a lot about economics, and then and also one of the introductory electives, which is a great overview of the content and the purpose of the program. So you finished it, you took all of the courses, you persevered, and then you found yourself applying to MIT and getting admitted to MIT, and then you came to campus. How did the on-campus program compare to the online courses?
Yeah, I think I've been like looking at questions, and one of the questions that's come up is like the rigor of courses, and I think both the on-campus and kind of the online courses are they really reflect the rigor that MIT prides itself on. So I would say both the courses in both the kind of delivery formats are very rigorous. The on-campus experience is quite wonderful in that you are in a smallish cohort of people that are really passionate about making a difference in the world and really come from many different places. So what I think it gives you over and above the online experience is the opportunity for peer learning. The other awesome thing that you get to experience on campus is being able to interact with professors in the MIT ecosystem in person, which is quite wonderful. MIT is a wonderful place. Everyone is very passionate, everyone is very smart, and everyone kind of knows what they want to pursue, what interests them. And I think there's so much to learn from the ecosystem. And that's kind of what the master's experience brings to you over and above the rigor of the courses itself.
Yeah, that's great. It's true. Being in person and learning in person definitely provides opportunities to spend time with people and to learn from their stories, and especially for the DDP program, since people come from so many different backgrounds. Those conversations are always
Totally.
Did you have a favorite course on campus?
Yeah, so I didn't do the political economy course online. I actually ended up taking it on campus, and I was initially a little bit upset because Professor Ben Alkin was on sabbatical my semester, but coincidentally, Professor Duflo ended up teaching that course along with a visiting professor, Professor Sarah Lowe's, and they were both so fantastic. I think it was a very discussion-oriented class, and it really kind of married math with implementation and the ideas of political economy and development. It was definitely one of my favorite classes. Also, not to forget the seminar, the DEDP seminar was always awesome because there were so many different guests that the like program coordinators would bring in, and these were like different professors who had worked on policy in so many different aspects, some of it more public policy oriented, some of them more international development oriented, and it really like showed you the wide scope of economics and development and policy. It was a very good kind of overview of what spaces you could work in or what spaces you could progress to.
Yeah, that's great. I love the weekly seminar too. It's a great way to hear about what's happening in the world and what projects people are working on. I mean, you illustrated a great point with your answer of people have a lot of flexibility in the courses that they choose, and who's teaching them really depends on the term. So similarly, I think people have the opportunity to pursue their unique interests in the capstone project, which is what you complete over the summer after you've spent a semester on campus. Could you just share with the group what you did for your capstone and what that process was like?
Yeah, of course. So I ended up going back to my previous employer in Kenya for my capstone. I used to work for an organization that consulted with governments, specifically on results-based financing. It's a very niche sort of service delivery model. And what I did was I worked with the government of Uganda and Ethiopia to help them streamline their migrant and kind of refugee tracking systems and to like improve delivery of services to these refugees that were entering the country. Ethiopia was mostly internally displaced people, and Uganda was refugees from the DRC. So it was a very fulfilling and interesting project. And I think like I was really able to take away some very interesting learnings, both from the masters as well as from the project.
Yeah, That's great. Yeah, and I'm sure, you know, going back to your previous employer, a great opportunity to immediately apply everything you had learned to projects you had been working on for a long time, which is really cool. Well, yeah, Sitara, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna go to the next slide here and give you time to read through the Q&A. If there's any questions that you want to comment on, you are more than welcome and to unmute yourself and answer again. But quickly, before we answer a few more questions live, I just wanted to conclude our formal presentation with this slide, which shows you some important dates. So as we've said before, our courses are offered in 3 terms per year, and the next one starts on May 13, which is 2 weeks from today. The payment deadline, which is another important date to keep in mind, is June 24. And then if you have any questions following this webinar or anything that we didn't get to, we would be more than happy to respond to you over email. So please write this contact email down and we will get back to you in a short time. So now with the time we have left, I'm going to pass it to Davis to tackle some of these questions about the from the Q&A box.
Sounds great, Bryn. You all have a ton of questions, really great stuff to see here. And I'm going to try to answer as many as I can in the limited amount of time available. So I'm getting a ton of questions about pacing, about, you know, what course do I take when? So I'm going to try to get into some of that first. I think what's important to keep in mind is that you know, you're free to take the courses at whatever pace you'd like. I think some of the big deadlines to remember are, you know, if you're trying to apply for the master's program, that application deadline is usually in January. So wrapping up your credential by the fall term might be nice. If you're planning on doing that, but you know, take as much time as you need. Even if you've taken courses in the past a long time ago, we still consider those as valid. So, you know, we've had learners take the MicroMasters and complete the program in many, many years and still make it into the master's program. You know, it's about completing it at your own pace. That's what's important. I still see questions about, you know, what courses should I take? What track should I commit to? Um, I would just go to the website and read about the courses and, you know, decide the electives you want to take and then use that information to decide what track to settle on. I think it's important to just think about what's interesting to you and go from there. You know, a course is going to be a lot easier to take if you're interested fundamentally in the material that's being discussed. I see a question about, you know, okay, what if I've taken a course on the audit track, and then I want to pay and, you know, I have more money later or I have more interest later. Do I have to completely retake the course? The answer is no. We have ways for you to import a previous coursework score so that, let's say you completed the course, but you didn't take the exam, you can later, you know, enroll in the course and only take the exam and import your coursework score. So that's, you know, completely fine as well. We're trying to make this, you know, as flexible as we can. Let's see.
As you scroll through, I can answer one. Somebody
Perfect.
asked me if there's a specific order that I recommend taking the courses in, and I think it's really valuable to kind of start off with. Honestly, first of all, it depends on where you're coming from. I was coming from like a background of not really knowing much about the economics or development world, so taking microeconomics, taking challenges of global poverty, really, I think set me up for success. Another course that I think really helps a lot was like designing and running randomized control trials. I think that kind of really gives you a good background into into like what some of the professors mean when they talk about RCTs. Yeah, just my thoughts. All to say that it depends on you and what sort of background you're coming from. I think if you already have a strong economics background, maybe this order isn't really for you. Maybe you want to take courses in a different order.
I think that's a really good point. I think I'll try to distill some of that, into some advice that I've gathered of my own, which is, um, either starting with an introductory elective, like the challenges of global poverty, as was mentioned, to kind of get your feet wet, figure out what online learning is about. Introductory electives are generally easier than the rest of our courses, so it might be a great way to dive into online learning without as much of the time commitment, as much of the pressure. Alternatively, as was also mentioned, maybe starting with a core course to get some of that foundational understanding, whether that's microeconomics, as was mentioned, or designing and running randomized evaluations. These are core courses that are foundational to the rest of the material offered in the program. So that also could be a great place to start. I really think that's some great advice. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Um,
Yeah, I would just add another plug for what you said earlier, Davis, that we have the course readiness assessments on the course pages. And so if you're unsure of if you have a strong economics background or not, that's a great way to kind of assess, how difficult the course may be. And also if there's other topics that you might want to refresh before you get started on the courses, like calculus or statistics or something like that. So take a look at the course readiness assessments and see if that's helpful in choosing which courses to start with. Davis, I've seen a lot of questions about what math is required for the courses. Sorry if I missed it, but could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I think the course readiness assessments is a great segue into talking about some of the math requirements. So some of the courses require almost no math. Those are some of the introductory electives, typically, as well as a course like designing and running randomized evaluations. Not a ton of math required for that course either. But for a lot of the other courses, some significant math is required for these courses. You'll be doing algebra, you'll be doing some basic calculus, you'll be doing some statistics and probability. So those are the kinds of things that are helpful for a lot of the courses. Now, if you go on our website, you can see which of the courses require which math requirements. You can see which courses don't. And you can also see some helpful guides, some helpful resources that we offer to, if you're interested and you're not quite ready for the courses, how you can get ready. We have a ton of materials that can help you get there. And hopefully, not only in the course themselves, we offer resources, but also on our website. So I would really check that out if you're at all curious about which course to take, what do I need for, X or Y course. It's definitely a helpful place to start.
Thank you. All right, we are just reading through these questions with our remaining time. Let's see if there's maybe one or two more.
Oh, here's one. This is more about the schedule. What happens if I miss a week of course material? This happens to people all the time, and we include buffers in every week. So basically, I mean every course rather. Um, Not only can you work ahead if you know that something comes up, but unexpected things always do come up, right? And so for every course, we drop your lowest grades on at least two homeworks and a couple of the other exercises as well. So when things do come up unexpectedly, as they always do, you have some buffer for your grade there.
That's great. Thank you. All right, I think that's where we can cut it off. Yeah, as Dave said, tons of great questions. So thank you for submitting them. If we didn't get to yours, I'm so sorry. Please send it to us at the DEDP-MicroMasters-support email that's currently displayed on the screen. We would love to help you out and can definitely get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you again for attending today's webinar. I hope that the information was interesting and relevant to you. was great to see so many people joining us from around the world. The link to the recording will be sent out afterwards, so you can rewatch it and follow up if needed. Just a final reminder, the courses start 2 weeks from today on March 13. And yeah, thank you again for your participation. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you.